Imagine this, the currency has collapsed. The paper in your wallet is worthless, but you were smart. You stacked gold. You bought the coins everyone told you to buy, and now you're standing in a makeshift market with a 1-ounce gold coin in your hand, trying to buy a bag of flour. The seller looks at you. He wants the flour gone, but he has a problem. That coin is worth 50 bags of flour. He can't make change. Nobody around him can make change, and even if they could, nobody can agree on what that coin is actually worth today, because the currency it's priced in doesn't exist anymore. So you walk away, hungry, holding the most precious metal on earth, and completely unable to use it. This isn't a thought experiment. This is the documented, exposed reality of what happened every single time a currency died in the 20th century. And it reveals a truth that almost nobody in the gold community wants to talk about. In a collapse, gold doesn't work the way you think it does, but silver might. Today, we're going to autopsy 4 monetary collapses and follow the exposed evidence to answer one question. When paper money dies, which metal actually functions as money? To understand why gold fails at the street level during a collapse, you need to understand one concept, the denomination problem. As of this recording, a single 1-ounce gold coin is worth over $2,000. A 1-ounce silver coin is worth roughly $30. That's not a small difference. That's the difference between trying to buy a week of groceries with a $100 bill and trying to buy it with a single gold bar. In normal times, this doesn't matter. You sell the gold on an exchange, deposit the cash, and spend electronically. But a currency collapse is not normal times. Exchanges are frozen. Banks are shuttered or rationing withdrawals. The digital layer of the economy is the first thing to break. What remains is face-to-face exchange. And in face-to-face exchange, the single most important property of money is divisibility. Can you break it into small enough units to match the value of what you're buying? Silver historically passes this test. Gold does not. 1 ounce of silver can buy a few days of food. A fractional silver piece can buy a single meal. The transaction resolves cleanly. 1 ounce of gold, on the other hand, forces you into a barter negotiation where you're massively overpaying, or you're forced to trust the other party to owe you the difference. In a collapse, trust is the first casualty. Now here's what the gold advocates rarely mention. Germans who held gold coins, specifically the pre-war 20-mark gold mark, did preserve their wealth on paper, but using that wealth was a different story. The documented record shows that most daily transactions during the hyperinflation were conducted through 3 channels: foreign currencies, primarily the US dollar, barter of physical goods, and small denomination precious metal, overwhelmingly silver. Why? Because a single gold coin was worth months of wages. Presenting it in a breadline was not just impractical, it was dangerous. You were advertising that you had wealth when your neighbors were starving. The social consequences were documented and severe. Committees formed in apartment blocks to report hoarders. Denunciations were rampant. Zimbabwe, 2007 to 2009. The Zimbabwean dollar is dying. At its peak, inflation hits an almost incomprehensible 79.6 billion% per month. The government prints a $100 trillion note. It buys 3 eggs. The survival economy runs almost entirely on US dollars and South African rand. But there's a layer beneath that. In the rural areas and high-density townships, where foreign cash is scarce, small units of tradable value dominate. Cooking oil, fuel, airtime minutes on mobile phones. And when precious metal enters the picture, it's small denomination silver and gold dust. Not coins, not bars, but quantities small enough to match the value of a single transaction. Gold bars and coins sat in safes. They were stores of value, not mediums of exchange. The distinction is critical. Storing wealth is not the same as spending wealth. When you cannot spend it, your store of value is a prison. For most of recorded monetary history, silver was the operational currency of daily life. Gold was the currency of kings, of treaties, of settling debts between nations, but silver was the currency of the baker, the blacksmith, and the tax collector. Rome understood this intuitively. The denarius, a silver coin, was the backbone of Roman commerce for over 4 centuries. When the empire debased it, mixing in copper and reducing the silver content, The economy didn't just inflate, it fractured. Trade reverted to barter in the provinces. Tax collection collapsed. The legions demanded payment in goods rather than coins. And what replaced the denarius in daily trade? Not gold. The solidus, Constantine's famous gold coin, was a tool of state finance and international trade. The common Roman never used it to buy bread. Smaller bronze and copper coins filled daily transactions, but silver remained the anchor of the middle economy, the space between imperial finance and subsistence barter. China's monetary history reinforces this. For over 1,000 years, silver was the functional trade currency across East Asia. The Spanish silver dollar, minted in Mexico with silver from Potosi, became the first truly global currency, not because of any government decree, but because it was the right size, the right weight, and the right value for actual commerce. Gold has always been wealth. Silver has always been money. The difference only becomes visible when the system cracks. The gold mistake everyone makes is assuming that storing wealth and spending wealth are the same thing. They're not. And when the system breaks, that distinction is the difference between going hungry with a fortune in your pocket and quietly feeding your family with a coin that fits in the palm of your hand.